It's not. It's what we use every day.
Hey James, you said that you wanted to see how the team reacted on Tuesday. What have you seen yesterday and today in terms of where the team kind of is moving forward?
Yeah, good. Meetings were good. Practice is good. We try to kind of mix. We go outside, but it doesn't make sense. We have the walkthroughs to be outside, so we try to do them inside as much as we can. But it was good. They give you some challenges schematically that we're still working through. So tomorrow's practice will be important. But I think overall, I feel good. I know we got some things we got to get cleaned up still, but I expect us to play well on Saturday.
James, it's a little more obvious on offense when you either add a wrinkle or you add something to keep the defense off balance. On defense, how do you stay true to your philosophies and your principles, but also change it up a little bit and not be predictable?
Yeah, some people will have defensively where you see it the most is some subtle changes to the fronts. I think you guys have seen us, stem to a bear front on defense and things like that, where we try to stem to it late, or you may have a different pressure. Some people are a pressure of the week. So we try to do, for the most part, what we always do, but you try to package it a little bit different. So you may stem to a front late. You may try to show rotation a certain direction opposite of what you've done the weeks before and bring the pressure from the opposite side. So just subtle things like that, but nothing great. Really, it comes down to executing what you're trying to do at a higher level than they are, and you'll have slight wrinkles. And to be honest with you, even on offense, there's slight wrinkles of things that we're already doing.
Indiana's OC has said that he essentially has two different playbooks for his two quarterbacks. So I'm just curious, when you're looking at film, is there just as much value for you guys still in looking at Penix and what they do with him, or is it focusing obviously on Ramsey at this point?
I think that's a comment in the press conference to get Gus a little bit more concerned than maybe we should be. I think there's things obviously that they play to Penix's skill set a little bit more, his mobility, his ability to run, and Ramsey does those things well. I think they have a playbook, and they emphasize things a little bit more with Ramsey than they do with Penix, and vice versa. But there's enough film on Ramsey that we got a pretty good idea of who they are. There'll obviously be a few things. They had a bye week, so there'll be some extra things. It does allow them to probably focus on those things a little bit more. We've had four really challenging games in a row, and now our fifth game is very challenging as well. And they have a bye week as well, which creates some issues. That's why we're gonna need to have a great home field advantage.
2 months ago, you might have known what your weaknesses are, and you work on them to try and get better as the season goes along. Now that you are so far along in the year, is the balance between just leaning on your strengths and getting better at that and working on weaknesses change at all, or is it just the same as it's always been?
I think it's similar. I think it's similar. I think the discussions that we're in now, a little bit to that, is guys that are right on the bubble now of burning their red shirt based on games, because the reality is there's some guys now that are probably ready that weren't ready in the beginning of the season, and some of those guys we choose to use 3 games with already, and you don't really have those games. So those guys you see starting to kind of get into their rhythm. They kind of started out hot and then kind of hit a wall, and now they're getting back into a rhythm. So I think that plays a part of it. But besides that, some of the young guys in the beginning of the year that were playing backup roles and were getting a little bit of reps, and their reps have grown as the season has gone on. I think that factors in. But no, I think you just kind of keep chipping away at it kind of throughout the year.
Hey, James, there may be recency bias, but are there more things like HBO, or we're going to talk to Jonathan shortly, more things off the field this year than usual?
The HBO 247 thing for sure, but besides that, I don't feel like it is unless you have something like specific. The 247 definitely, but besides that, I can't think. Do you have some examples?
Well, people rallied around Jonathan when he got that horrible letter, things like that.
Yeah, Yeah, so I thought, when you asked that, I thought you were talking about like things kind of within control of our program.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's been some things outside control of our program that have happened, yeah. I would say probably those things happened probably every year. Some have been more public than others. This year, it's been public. It's not like we haven't gotten, confrontational or interesting letters in the past. I had a bunch this week. So some are public, some aren't. So I think it's probably similar, except for the 247, the HBO 247. The rest of it, some things probably became public because of social media and things like that normally haven't.
What was maybe the gist of the most interesting letter you got?
I didn't like it. Yeah, I'm not surprised that you want to know. To be honest with you, Diana, a lot of you guys know probably Diana Weaver. She basically runs Penn State football. She funnels everything, so I don't get. I feel bad for her because she spends every day. And to be honest with you, it's even after wins, emails that come through and letters that come through, and luckily she just gives me the kind ones. Yeah, so it's pretty good. It's pretty good for the most part. But there's interesting, colorful things that come into every football program in the country. The thing that's interesting is, obviously we don't fill up 107, sometimes 110,000 seat stadium without passion, and we don't lack for passion. And I get it. That's what makes this place so special. And I also know when things don't go the way everybody wants them to go, that's what makes things so painful that people care so much.
Did it take you a while to realize that at this place, James? Because I remember you saying that there were some things from your first couple of years that you'll never forget.
No, I mean, my personality, it probably affects. And there's a fine line because I don't want to lose that aspect of my personality, because I think that's what allows me to connect so much with the community and care so much about the community and the kids and all those types of things. But then that also leaves you up. That leaves you open to wounds and scars. So it hurts more. But no, I mean, there's plenty of passion in the SEC. But yeah, it's obviously different here. Of places I've been, but again, it's 95% of it is as positive as could be. But there's the other end of that, and then there's the area that I'm from, Philly, and they're angry. They're angry when they're ordering cheesesteaks. And you got Pittsburgh, and they have their angle of angry, and then we sit right in the middle. So it's interesting. We get a good blend of both. But I also know, when we're playing in Beaver Stadium and we need them on third down, and when we need them at the whiteout, and when we need them in the red zone, and when we need them this Saturday, they'll be there to have our back as well. So take the good with the bad.
Hey, Coach. This afternoon I had a chance to speak with Aeneas Hopkins. Now in year 2, how is he coming along from a ankle perspective, and what are some things that you're most from him?
Yeah, Aeneas is a neat kid. He's got a really strong personality. He's very comfortable in his own skin. Is doing really well in school. Comes from a great family in terms of, got a really diverse background. A lot of football in his background with family and uncles, and a lot of successful people in his family. Got a strong, obviously connection with Johnstown. He's doing well. He's had some setbacks. He's had some setbacks physically, some things that have slowed down his development. But we think he's got a bright future. He's a guy that had to change his body when he first got here. He did that, and now it's getting him back to the size that he needs to be to compete at this level, and then obviously keeping him healthy as well. So kind of combination of all those things. But Aeneas, he's smart, he's articulate. He understands the game of football. He's got a tremendous motor and quickness. He's got to get big and strong enough that he's going to be able to be a interior defensive lineman in the Big Ten. And I'm not saying anything that he doesn't know, but we love Aeneas. Love his mom, dad, the whole family. They've been awesome.
Time for 2 more.
James, you mentioned some of the freshmen coming up towards that 4-game threshold. Joey Porter, I believe, has 3 games. He traveled with you, didn't play. Does he fall into that category? And how has his development gone so far as a freshman?
Yeah, it's been good. You know, Joey flashes some really good things on the field. You know, in a lot of ways, as good as any of our guys. For the young players, a lot of times it's the consistency. It's getting them to understand things that they think they know, but they don't necessarily know. But he's been really good. He's a talented guy. There's no doubt. He's, I think, a really good example of a guy that came in and did some really good things, then kind of hit the freshman wall a little bit and is now rebounding and coming out of it. But yeah, he's one of those guys that you get to this point in the season, he probably could help us. You could make the argument that you'd like to have, only use 1 game early and have 3 games now. But it just, you don't know how those things are going to play out. But we got 1 more game to use with them, so we'll be strategic about how we use that game.
James, when you are this far into the season, you've had guys who've been focusing for a long time and putting in a lot of hours, including yourself and the staff. How do you maintain that level of focus at this point in the season when you've been going for so long?
Yeah, I think for me, the routine just kind of helps. It's what's today, Wednesday? Yeah. It's not. Look at what we're talking. Like during the season, it's just like 1 long day with a couple naps, in between. So it's just kind of your routine, as the season goes on. I think the players are kind of like that. I think the coaches are like that. I think the important thing, and our trainers and our strength coaches and our sports scientists, I think, are doing a good job of really educating our guys on, obviously nutrition and sleep and hydration, all those types of things, because to your point, it is a grind, and if you don't watch yourself, you'll wear down. So when you can get out of the office and go home and get some sleep, that's important. Little things like our guys, washing their hands and changing their sheets and all those types of things so they can stay healthy, so that they don't have setbacks. So, we can have them for Saturdays, and so they can keep developing in the weight room and all those types of things and not miss class. That's where I think the challenge comes. It's not necessarily the season. It's, when they don't get enough sleep and they get sick and things like that for the coaches and for the players. I think that's the trick. For most of the coaches, this is all we know, so we think this is normal. But it's getting everybody else to kind of understand the routine. There was 1 more, Chris. They kind of both said at the same time.
Thank you, James. You said yesterday that you want to see a little bit more from the receivers behind Jahan and KJ. I guess, how do you convey that to them, or do you, while still keeping their confidence up and keeping them doing what they do?
Yeah, they know it. They know it, and it's addressed in meetings and things like that. And to be honest with you, they've been really good at practice. And there's been games that they've been good. We just have been inconsistent at times. So I think, like we talk about with all young players, it's consistency of how they are in meetings. It's consistency in how they are at practice. It's consistency of how they are in games. And I think if you look over guys' careers, that's what they do. They all show flashes as freshmen, but they're able to show those flashes more consistently as sophomore, and then more consistently as juniors, and then hopefully they're doing it all the time as juniors and seniors. So that's kind of where those guys are at. We see great things from them. It's the consistency in games and the consistency in practice that we think they're capable of.